Hello, hello. It's Amy Yamada here with our May Marketing Bootcamp. And I'm thrilled to have you here. And I just wanted to share with you, if you haven't met me yet, my name's Amy Yamada, and I'm here to help you to deeply connect with yourself, your vision, and your ideal clients so that you can create the impact and the income that you've always wanted. So the last few days, we've been really talking about your vision. So we went from like your big vision, and we took it down to the 12-month focus. So some of you may have done that exercise. I actually talked to one of you yesterday who broke it down into that big picture monthly calendar, where you bullet pointed out the few things that you're focusing on each month that really set you up for success. And then today, what we're going to do is we're going to bring it down to your weekly and even your daily focus, and those two words, time management. So I haven't always been the greatest at this. In fact, years ago, I remember how yesterday I was telling you to remove certain words, but I'm going to use the word busy. I mean, I just felt like I had so much on my calendar. I was so busy, and yet I wasn't really making very much money. I didn't have a clear message, which later in our May Marketing Bootcamp, we're going to be diving into your marketing message. So I hope you're excited about that, really like defining your uniqueness. And I was all over the place. And I also made myself so available for my clients, which on one hand, I thought, oh, this is great. It's customer service. I'm making myself available. And at the same time, the problem with that was that I had a calendar that was it was just a mess. It was a mess. It was like, I would have client calls here and there on the weekends, evenings. I was just like, oh, but I want to be accommodating to them and want to make sure that I can fit into their schedule versus respecting myself enough to know that I get to create my own schedule too. So just wanted to say hello to a few of you. Just love having you here live for those of you watching live. So Jennifer, Yvette, Tracy, welcome. Debbie, Shannon, so happy to have you here. So, okay, so we're going to dive right in. So once I realized that this schedule was not working for me, and I heard this quote, and maybe you've heard this quote before, success leaves clues. Success leaves clues, meaning successful people leave clues. And I always looked for the golden thread, and I continue. The people that I really look up to and admire, and sometimes now get to meet at different events, that's been really awesome over the last couple of years. I noticed, what's the golden thread that I noticed amongst these incredible people? And one of the things I noticed back then with Success Leaves Clues is that they didn't let their clients or the world run their calendar. They took ownership, they took responsibility and said, you know what? I know that I can still be generous and really make myself available while still setting boundaries. So how many of you are recovering people pleasers like me? So if you're recovering people pleaser, then, and I add that word recovering because we get to let that go. And in fact, I think I used to pride myself on being a people pleaser because the two words are really positive, right? It's people. I love people. Please, like pleasing, it's like a nice thing. And yet when you put those two together, the problem with it is that you allow people to run your life and then you get reactive and then maybe, okay, I should speak for myself. I would be reactive to my life and I would be so accommodating and to the point where the message, so here's a key thing. No matter what, whether you like it or not, you're putting a message out there in the world, even in your personal life. So I think back to, when I worked in the radio world, so I worked in the media for about 15 years prior to launching my business. I remember that there was a group of friends that we'd go out, for happy hour every week. And I would always plan it, right? I would always plan the outing. I would always set up the schedule, okay, what are we doing? Where are we meeting? Who's invited? That kind of thing. And to the point where it was an expectation, right? And I think on one hand, I liked it. Obviously, it served me for some reason, right? And but the problem was the message I was putting out there in the world, not just with that happy hour, but with other things in my life, was, oh, well, Amy will just do it. Amy will just do it. And maybe some of you can relate to that, where you now notice that because you do so much for people automatically, then people just start saying, oh, he or she will just do it. And it was true. So the message was the truth. And I got to change my message even in my personal life, right? So my point is, once I gained clarity, so I went from being the people pleaser to even when I had a career, working for somebody else, then I became an entrepreneur, still people pleasing, still letting people run my life without, there's nothing wrong with them. I used to get asked all the time, especially once I started doing all these cool things, every week I would get all these messages from people saying, hey, I want to meet you for coffee. When I was focusing on the local market, networking locally in the Seattle area, I want to meet for coffee. Can I pick your brain? Can I pick your brain? And I had so many people picking my brain for free that I was like, okay, if I keep saying yes to all these coffee meetings, they're like, I'll treat you to coffee. And I don't know about you, but my brain is worth more than like a $4 cup of coffee. So anyway, you can still see that I have that resentment. No, it's fine. It was years ago. My point is, I realized that that way of being was no longer serving me. And if I really wanted to be successful, then I got to notice that success leaves clues and to take ownership of my schedule and respecting myself and respecting my life, because every single day is your life, to really create a schedule that works for me. So once I did that, everything shifted. First of all, people didn't expect that I'm just so available all the time. Now I want to be clear. I went from one extreme to the other. So I went from super people pleaser, always available, to setting hard boundaries and saying no to a lot of things, learning how to say no, and then like loving that practice of saying no, and then finding myself coming back to the middle because I'm all about practicing generosity. So I still help people as much as I can while still respecting my life, my schedule, my core values, so this is what has worked really well. And once I did that, it's amazing how that has helped with even growing my business, growing my team, having a bigger capacity. Yesterday I was sharing that story about how I now hold so much more in my business than I ever have. And I'm happier and less stressed. And it's just a better life, on a daily basis. So, okay. So here's what I want to share with you today. That are things that you can do. And if you're just joining our May Marketing Bootcamp for the first time, I welcome you. Would love for you to introduce yourself. And, one of my newer clients who's also been joining us every day so far said that she now has an Amy notebook. And I thought it was just adorable. I was very humbled by that. She's like, I've got an Amy notebook because I want to make sure that I go back and do these exercises. So thank you. I appreciate that. So feel free to take notes on this. And I always believe that when you have a training like this, and if there's some golden nugget or a few golden nuggets you get from it, the sooner you take action on the action steps I give you, the better off you'll be, because the more time that goes by, the less likely you are to do it. And I'm telling you, this May Marketing Bootcamp is my gift to you. I'm giving you my best stuff that helped me get to where I am now. And I'm working my 7-figure plan this year, and I'm in a great relationship. I practice self-care in the morning, and I travel. I really love my life. I really do. So, okay, we're going to dive right in. Shannon says, I have an Amy Yamada Google Doc. Thank you. I feel the love. Okay, so the first thing that made a difference for me that I've gotten better and better at is creating that thing that successful people talk about, which is creating a morning ritual. Okay, so really thinking about how you're starting your day. And what I noticed was that if I didn't commit to it the day before, then I wasn't fully committed. So it's not just about, creating that morning ritual and thinking about it or even putting it on your calendar. The day before, look at tomorrow. So today you can look at tomorrow and saying, okay, what do I want my dreamy morning to look like? And how committed am I to actually following through with that dreamy morning ritual? Now, here's one thing that I used to be really resistant around this, because I believe that by nature, I'm a night person. And at the same time, I realized that if I do get up a little bit earlier than I used to get up, then it starts off my day better. It starts off my day powerfully. I'm really centered. At the same time, I do believe that it's about finding a morning ritual or routine that works for you. I'm going to give a little shout out to Crystal Jackson. I don't think she's on right now, but she calls it a magical morning. And she helped me to really define my magical morning. I know I had her recently on as I was traveling on Chat with Amy. And so finding what works for you, because I've heard some entrepreneurs who are highly influential and they're just like, yeah, I got to grind it out, get up at 2:30 a.m. or 4 a.m. And I'm telling you, that does not work for me. So I'm just keeping it real. I have no judgment around that. And that's getting up really early in the morning. I like my sleep. I think sleep is really important. And so for me, getting up more around 6 or even 6:30 is more in alignment with me. So my point is, just think about what works for you. And just know that no one person has the perfect equation of when to wake up in the morning. You do for you, right? So I do for me. And I think for a while I was really resistant to coming up with my own morning ritual as far as because I felt like I had to get up super early in order to be successful. And I just don't buy into that. I think it's about you get to define your own life and figure out what works for you. So one of the things you could do is think about, what would my most dreamy morning look like? So I'll just give you my example. So what I noticed is that in the morning, the first about half hour of the morning, I like some quiet time. Like I don't want to just pop out of bed and just go, right? Like I used to do that at one point in my journey. Then I didn't do that at all. And now I realized I like to ease into my day and just kind of be loving to myself. Just like, okay, just ease in, wake up, got my dog, like, just like a chill morning. So the first about half hour. And then after that, I love to take, my dog out. She needs to go out. And I live in a beautiful area that's close to the water here in Juanita, Kirkland. Like, so Kirkland, Washington is near Seattle, for those of you who don't know the Seattle area. And so I live really close to this beautiful beach park. So walking her down there in a quiet space, like as talkative as I am in the morning, I'm a quiet person. So taking her for a walk. So it's like half hour quiet time, half hour walking Bella. And then when I come back to my home, then from about 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. is my workout time. So whether I'm heading to a boot camp at the fitness studio I go to a few times a week, or doing an at-home workout, yoga, stretching, something along those lines, or going for a run, that's like my exercise time. And then from 8 to 9 is, having breakfast, getting ready for the day, and then it goes from there. So I just wanted to give you that as an example. I always found that it was helpful for me to hear examples. So you get to create what it looks like for you. And I also know that, one of the things that I am working on myself is getting really consistent with my exercise, because I'm one of those on again, off again people, and I get to redefine that. And what I noticed about myself is that I do best if I just get it done in the morning, and then it sets a really great intention and tone for the day. Okay. So that's the number one thing, is creating a morning ritual that works for you. Okay. So the second thing, so as we've been going from the big vision to the monthly to the weekly and daily, is to create a weekly and daily declaration. Like, what are you committed to creating this week? And what are you declaring that you're going to create for today? So I even do this with my amazing sales team, when we're doing enrollments for, like right now, we still have a handful of spots available for Powerhouse California. It's a 6-week coaching program. The intimate group is going to be an intensive 6 weeks. We're going to dive deep into all of these topics around marketing messaging, copywriting, content creation that really lands with your ideal clients, and the ever popular sales conversations and handling sales objections. So my point is, with my sales team, every day we connect through Voxer, and we also set intentions and declarations for the day. So that way we are really holding ourselves to the highest level of accountability and really following through with what we say we're going to do for the day. And that's where community is so key. Like, holding yourself accountable is one thing. Having others around you that you can make a declaration to is a whole other thing. So if you are someone who's seeking any level of community, I would love to connect with you to see if Powerhouse is in alignment with you. And if not, hopefully you're in a community that's awesome. So just wanted to see that right here. So all that being said, when you create a weekly and daily calendar, you want to think about what is most important right now. So as I mentioned the other day, the number one rule of entrepreneurship is laser-like focus. And then aligned with that is about prioritizing. So one thing that can be a really powerful exercise is if you take out a piece of paper and then you draw a line down the middle. So you can do this today. And then on one side, you can write down, what does an average weekday look like for you from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep? Like, what does that look like for you? And on the other side, so just imagine these two columns, you can write down, what are your top 5 to 10 core values? Both, this is from your personal to your business life. I mean, we're all in this one being, right? So just think about what are your core values, and make that list. And the reason why I love this exercise so much is that then you can look at, what your day looks like and what your core values are, and just see if your core values are properly reflected in your day. In fact, you could even put stars next to each one, like, okay, is this thing that I'm doing each day in alignment with a core value? Is this thing in alignment? Is this thing in alignment? And I used to look at that and I would say, gosh, I say that health is important to me, and then where is health and fitness and take care of myself reflected in my calendar? And it just wasn't. So it's just a good way to lovingly call yourself out if there's something missing in your calendar that's not in alignment with your goals. Now, to bring it to business, one of the things I notice is that oftentimes entrepreneurs in their first couple of years of business are feeling stretched financially, and they're just like, oh, I'm just trying to get things up and running, and I feel like I'm doing all the stuff, all the steps, and nothing's happening. And so I always like to ask a few more questions because I don't believe that if you're taking action that nothing will happen. It's just about what action are you taking in order to achieve the desired result. So I'll find out, well, how are you spending your time? Like, what are you doing with your day that's in alignment to attracting clients, to putting yourself out there, to having enrollment or sales conversations? Like, what is it that you're doing in order to achieve the desired result? And the problem I often see is that either they're not attracting clients, like they're not doing marketing properly to attract their ideal clients. Maybe they don't even have a strong message. Maybe they're not having enough leads to talk to. Maybe they're not having enough conversations with people. Maybe they're not making enough offers. Typically it's the offers. And all of this is connected, right? But I'll say, well, how many offers have you made in the last week? Like, well, none. I'm like, okay, well, how many offers have you made in the last month? Well, 3, something like that. Like, okay, so what's happening is that you're not setting yourself up for success. And what you want to do, if you're in a sales enrollment time frame in your business, or maybe you're someone who has sales ongoing throughout the year, is to look at that piece of it, which is something we will be getting into in the May Marketing Bootcamp. But really think about, am I setting myself up for success? Am I having enough conversations? Do I see that reflected in my calendar? If abundance is important to me and making a bigger difference is important to me, then having these clients and having an audience to make a difference for is really important, right? So just really thinking about, okay, what does my day look like? What does my week look like? Making those declarations and then doing that exercise of what does it look like now and what are my core values and where do I get to go from here? Okay. Okay. So also just know that I'm going to do a little Q&A at the end here. So I have a little bit more to go over for you. And then if you think about questions as I'm going through this, you can ask me anything. Like, I'm here to help you. So if there's anything you're struggling with in your scheduling or just anything in your business that you're like, gosh, if I could have Amy's help on something she could help me solve today, what would it be? So I will be getting to your questions. Okay, so moving along, the third thing. So the first thing is all about your morning ritual. So creating a morning ritual that you commit to the day before and figure out the morning ritual that works for you. The second thing is all around having your weekly and daily declarations, really setting up your day for success. And then the third element I want to share is whenever I feel that O word coming up. Yesterday I talked about the word overwhelm and how we get to remove that from our vocabulary. There's no such thing as overwhelm. You're just unprepared, not committed. So whenever I have that feeling come up, then I get out one piece of paper, grab a pen, and I do a brain dump of everything that's in my head that's making me feel like, there's too much going on, which I have less and less of now that I'm more organized and I've got a great team and I delegate and I really, practice this way of being and time management. My point is I still have those moments. So I'll do a brain dump. And then once I have all those things on a piece of paper in a list format, then I'll say, okay, of all these things that I think are all a super high priority and it's causing stress, what are the top 3 priorities on this list? And I get a highlighter. I'm like, okay, just 3. And I'll find those 3 things and know that the rest of it is just all up in my head. I don't know about you, but I can go back to overthinking. If you're an overthinker, just say, yes, I can be an overthinker. And what I'll do is I'll say, okay, these are the 3 priorities. Let me look at my day or look at the week and say, how much time do I believe each of these will take? So this is the other key thing, is when you think about the tasks that you want to add to your calendar, put next to those tasks an estimated time that you believe that task will take, and then add a little buffer, okay? And that way, when you're putting things into your calendar, so this is the key thing, is with these top priorities, put them in your calendar as a specific task. I used to try calendar blocking, where you just block out amount of time, like during these 3 hours, I'm going to do this. And it just didn't work for me because it just felt too broad, right? It's true, like the whole niche thing, right? It's like, let's be niche even with our time management. So I would put in my calendar, okay, I think that this task of content creation is going to take me about an hour. So maybe I'll give myself an hour and 15 minutes. So there's time to do the task, a little buffer, a little break. And that way, during that time, I can just eliminate distractions, really be present and intimate with the project I'm working on in that hour, and get it done. I know some people use Pomodoro. I think that's the app name. Let me know if some of you know Pomodoro. I haven't used it myself, but I keep hearing about it, where you can actually set a timer I'm just like, why don't you just set a timer? But anyway, I know we all love apps, right? But it's important to set a timer and then just really focus on what it is you're doing. And then just make sure that you move on to the next thing when you have committed to the next thing. Does that make sense? So, okay. So a few side tips that have, tools that have worked for me are the ever popular Google Calendar. I love my Google Calendar's everything. I mean, that's where I take the things out of my head and have it in a system that works. So my Google Calendar syncs up with my iPhone, and then I color code everything. So yeah, I kind of geek out on this stuff. So I color code like what's like self-care, what are the color coding for self-care in the mornings? What kind of appointments are what color, so I use yellow for anything that's like a group or team type of a meeting. Any coaching calls I have with my VIP clients are in an orange color. So I just picked a color I don't overthink that piece. It's just like pick a color for each correlating thing. And then that way at any given time, you can look at your Google Calendar and see like what colors are being represented, so it's kind of fun to, as a visual, see like what colors are being represented and am I really living a balanced life between all the things that I'm up to in this world? And then finally, another resource that I love is Acuity Scheduling. I know there's a lot of great scheduler, accounts that you can have. I've used TimeTrade. I've used Visita. I don't know how to pronounce it. They're great too. And then the only reason why I chose Acuity Scheduling, I like the look and feel of it. I also like that you can schedule, you can put in like a questionnaire. So if you ever want somebody to book a call with you and answer a handful of questions, then that system does it. I believe Calendly also does it. So I'm just sharing with you some of the things that have helped streamline my calendar so that if I give people a link to book time with me, first of all, I don't give them all my open space. Remember what I said at the beginning, right? I used to leave myself so open so that everyone else got to run my calendar, and I'm done with that. So I open up specific times on my calendar that work for me, and then I send them the link, and then they're able to book time with me. So I hope this is helpful. Okay, and then finally, one last thing. That's something that my very first business coach taught me like early on, and she talked about the difference between opportunities and distractions. So I don't know about you, but most entrepreneurs I know have shiny object syndrome, right? So it's like, I'm working on this and this other thing comes along like, oh, now I want to work on that. Now I want to do that. And I want to write a book and speak on that stage and do that online marketing funnel and do that summit and do this podcast. And oh my gosh, the list goes on and on and on. And suddenly you're like this crazy town and you wonder why you're so stressed and nothing's happening, right? So that's where that laser-like focus comes in. So one of the things that my first business coach ever said was like, just know the difference between an opportunity and a distraction. So when things present themselves to you, or when you learn about a new thing that you can do about writing a book or doing this or that, the other, just look at that opportunity. And even if it's a great strategy or something that you know can help you grow your business, when you have that focused plan for the year and each month and each week and even each day, then you can look at that opportunity and say, okay, based on what I have done to set myself up for success this year, is this truly an opportunity right now, or is it a distraction? Opportunity or distraction, And once I learned that, I was like, this is brilliant, because I could easily be trying to do all these different things, which I used to do, and it got me nowhere because I was just that hamster on a wheel. And don't become one of those entrepreneurs that is just so busy that they're not living in the present moment and they're juggling so many things. Like, it might be exciting for a little bit, and it's not going to get you to your bigger vision of really going the distance with your focused plan, your dream, your vision, your mission, your message. And I'm so committed to helping you, and I'm right there with you to really make a bigger difference in this world. Stay focused, stay on point, and really, really deliver. So, okay, so this is the time in the May I always want to say chat with Amy because that's my usual weekly show. May Marketing Bootcamp, where I answer your questions. I know I'm so cheesy sometimes. Okay, so yes, welcome everybody. Oh my gosh, I love all this, all your comments. Hey Jess. Okay, Shannon, you're so funny. I just found myself self-nodding to everything you're saying. Yeah, we're all connected. Hey Lorraine. Okay. So Holly asks, I want to implement no meetings on Monday and only taking meetings from 10 to 6 other days, but this was my first week. I'm having such a hard time keeping those parameters. How did you do it? Holly, it wasn't perfect because at first I was so, used to my old habit, right? We're all habit based. We're creatures of habit. And the more I just set those boundaries, the better off I am. So I'm very similar to you. Typically Mondays and I even say that typically, so I'm not perfect about this either. Mondays and Fridays, I have like my team meetings, and Monday mornings and Tuesday mornings, I have like team meetings, group meetings. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are when I do my client, like any of my VIP coaching clients, or I still do some of my enrollment conversations. So does my sales team, right? So, so I just look at my calendar and like, when do I want to do that? And so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are really great for me for meetings with my clients or potential clients. And then, so it's just a practice, Holly. Like I just started to really think about, when do I want to make myself available? The other thing too, and this is not just for Holly, but for all of you, the more I respect myself and my time, the more I feel like, and this might just be a way of thinking, but I do believe that the outer world is a reflection of the inner world. Like I feel like when I made myself super available, then others were like, oh, I can talk to her anytime. There's no like, oh gosh, I've got to respect her time, So now I feel like people really get that I do live a full life with a full schedule, and I'm not just going to make myself available all the time. And I am a highly generous person. So I do over deliver for my clients and my team. And at the same time, I know when to, walk away from technology and just not, like just shut it down and just say, I'm going to spend time with my man and his kids and my friends and family. And I love what I do so much. And at the same time, I know that balance is so important. The other thing, Holly and others, I like to fast forward in life. I like to think about when we are all like hanging out at a really cool resort when we're 100 years old, when we're all like hanging out in a cool place, because that's what's going to happen. I want to look back on a life that is just so full in every area, not just one area. And I'm obsessed with business. So sometimes I can be a bit, business heavy, right? And at the same time, like at the end of life, for any of you who've ever lost a loved one, as I have, I think about how at the end of life, like I think you look back and say, it's about the people, it's about the people you surround yourself with. It's about your loved ones. It's about, did you live with passion? Did you live with love? Did you live out your dreams? And so one of the things that helps me is like, I think about what kind of life do I want to look back on when I'm older, and I want to play full out. I want to live my life with love and passion and enjoy every moment and be present on a daily basis and not have that look in my eyes where I'm just like, always like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? Like, and I have big dreams and visions. And I also know that today right now is life. Today is life. So how am I going to live my life today? And if I make myself too available on all days of the week, then I'm really like that time I don't get back. So I invite you and others who are wanting to set those boundaries to just practice it. Just say, I'm going to give myself a stretch challenge for the next 4 weeks and say that no meetings on Mondays. And I'm telling you, people will respect it. And you can even say to people, I actually don't do any meetings on Mondays. Here are the other times I am available. Here's what will work for me. So another thing I learned for those of you who are recovering people pleasers is the sentence, that doesn't work for me. I remember when somebody said, just tell them that doesn't work for you. I'm like, I'm going to practice that. Yeah, that doesn't work for me. Here's what does. And it's just a self-respect thing. So I hope that helps. Yes, overthinkers. I have all my people on here. Yes, definitely an overthinker. Hi, Kate. Okay, color coding is great. Yes, it is, Jess. Awesome. Hi, Sonia. Naomi, acuity. Yeah, it's not it's acuity. ACUITY. Acuity scheduling. So you can check that out. Okay. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Judy. Just looking for the questions. Okay. So Lisa. Hey, Lisa. Lisa G. She said, not enough leads is my problem. So this is another area that I hear a lot of entrepreneurs talk about. There's like, I just feel like I don't have enough leads. So I find that the way that I never run out of leads is that I consistently put myself out there. So even like this, like we are living in such a great day and age where with the internet, social media, like you can put yourself out there on a daily, look at this. I'm doing this on a daily basis. It's a commitment. And I also know that I'm practicing generosity. For those who are really needing a breakthrough in their marketing, I'm going to give you the best of what I've got during every single weekday in May. And I just know that a percentage of the people who are watching my Facebook Live this month will want to at least have a conversation with myself and my team. And a percentage of those people will want to go further with us and go to Powerhouse California, for example, And so when you put yourself out there and practice generosity and then follow through with those people and have conversations with them, then there's so many people out there that need what you have. So for example, for Lisa, since I happen to know you and you're awesome with health and fitness and creating that schedule and really being true to living in your best body and having no excuses, like that's a really awesome opportunity for people to work with you. Like you're solving a problem for people everywhere that need to know how to do what it is you do. So it's about putting yourself out there and then deciding. So I think sometimes my experience with entrepreneurs, we get caught in our heads like, oh, I have to have all these sales conversations. Watch your energy around that. Energy is everything. Energy is everything. I know Sonia is on here right now. So if those of you who don't know Sonia Buena de la Torre, I love her last name. She's all about energy and self-love and like shifting your energy within you. Like definitely a friend request her and hopefully she'll accept it. But it's all about the energy that you bring forward. So instead of thinking I have to have sales conversations, think I get to make a difference and I get to start having conversations with people. So the way I look at it is even with your personal Facebook page, and I'll be getting into this as we do our May Marketing Bootcamp, I'm going to be really going into my Create, Connect, Offer system. You can friend request, or maybe if you're like me and have thousands of friends, you can start 10 or 20 conversations a night just through Facebook Messenger. I mean, you can do it during the day too, but I'm just saying sometimes in the evening when it's like downtime, you can just carve out, maybe 30 minutes to an hour and just say, tonight I'm just going to start a bunch of conversations and just reach out to people. The key thing is, do not introduce yourself and pitch them something. Like I can't tell you how often people will send me a Facebook message and say, hey, Amy, I'm so-and-so. I think you should take a look at this. I'm like, you don't even know me. You don't know what my vision is. We haven't built a connection. We haven't built a relationship. So, and there's no judgment. It's just, sadly, they haven't learned that it's about building a relationship first, building that deep connection. So all of you can, if you're wanting to attract more leads on a very foundational level, that doesn't take, a big project or something to bring in the leads, is that you can use your personal profile, Facebook page, and just start friending, requesting people, connecting with people, just the same way you would at a networking or social event. And start introducing yourself and saying, hey, I would love to, I love networking. Like I would say something like, I love connecting with other, powerful, entrepreneurial women and men. And I just saw what you're up to, or I love the fact that you're a health coach. I love the fact that you're doing this and this and this, and would love to connect. Just starting a conversation without attachment. Super powerful. Okay, let's see. Okay, Jess. Hey, Jess. Amy, what are some questions you ask yourself to get clear if something is a shiny object or a great opportunity? I'm currently struggling with this. So what I do, Jess, is I always bring it back to my vision. So I reconnect with my vision. What's my vision for this year? What's my focus for this month? Is this opportunity in line with my bigger vision? And if I'm getting caught up in my head, which I still sometimes do, then I will reach out to a colleague that I know is going to hold me high. Like that's going to hold me to my vision, hold me to my highest level of accountability. So I know that if I call someone who likes to keep me safe and comfortable, they're like, oh, Amy, you don't need to do that. So I'm very intentional on who I reach out to. So reaching out to your coach or someone in your community that you know is going to hold you high and in alignment with your vision, then this is what I'm thinking back to. A little over a year ago, I had a November, so it wasn't last year, but the year before. I had a November that was so full. I had so much going on in November that I promised myself ahead of time, I'm not adding one more thing to my November, right? I was like, I'm going to be focused, no more adding anything to it. And then an event production company reached out to me, and I was in California, and they said, we're going to drive to you. We want to meet with you to talk about this event. I'm like, okay. I didn't know when it was. I didn't know what it was, but I had a relationship with the people, right? Because it's all about connection. And so I said, sure, let's grab coffee. So they started telling me about this amazing event called the Ultimate Stage Experience. They're producing it, when it's, where it's going to be. And I was like, great. Well, and they were basically offering me a speaking opportunity because they knew that my topic around deep connection could really make a difference for the audience that was filled with coaches and entrepreneurs. And I was like, great. When is it? Like November 19th. I'm like, oh, I said I was linked to November, right? And so at first I was a no because I'd put walls up around my decision. At the same time, speaking on stages is part of my big vision. Like that year, last year, this, like speaking on big stages, not all the time, but a few times each year, I want to be on a big stage and I want to make a difference in that way. And I want to connect with more people. So I called 2 people, colleagues of mine. I said, here's what's coming up for me. And they held me high. They're like, Amy, you've been talking about speaking on stages for as long as I've known you. You know, you have to do this, right? Like just problem solve it and figure it out. So I did. So yeah, so I bring it back to my vision, and then I think about alignment. Like, is this in alignment? And I figured it out. And I was so glad because it really set the stage for, I do too many air quotes. Do you do air quotes? Okay, I need to I was looking back at one of my recent Facebook Lives, and you know how you can change the first image people see because sometimes you're like, ah. and I was looking at each frame and I'm like, da, blah, da. Anyway, I'm just making fun of myself. So with love to myself. I like air quotes. Okay. So do a little time check. Okay. Yes, I go way over time. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. But if you have any other questions, go ahead and pop it in below because I will come back to this later. Also, if this has been helpful, then I invite you to click on the share button. Click on the share button and put a personal note because you and I together can make a difference for someone. And if there's someone that is in your circle of influence that is needing help with breaking through in their marketing messaging, in their businesses, and in their lives, then this just make a difference for them. So go ahead and click on that share button and have a great rest of your day. And I'll be back on live tomorrow morning with a really cool thing. I can't even mention it right now. But join me tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Pacific for my May Marketing Bootcamp. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.